Hello friends, my name is Yabrash Pathak and welcome to this video. In this particular video, basically we'll make a UI clone of this particular thing called Netflix. You must be knowing Netflix, of course, but still, like, we'll be making a UI clone of this particular thing using this thing called Tailwind CSS. Now, if you don't know about Tailwind CSS, it's a UI framework, and it is like, you don't have to make any classes and any CSS files and all. You can directly specify these things, and these are really low level things. Like, you can specify the border, the text color, the background of a particular thing. All of these things you can specify individually using these class names, and that becomes, that makes this whole designing thing so much more easier, because you just have to specify the classes and they will be exactly how you need it. So that's something very cool about Tailwind CSS, and we'll be learning Tailwind CSS by making this particular thing called netflix.com. It's a very not very tough UI to make, but still, like, it's very interesting, and we'll be learning a lot of things by just replicating this particular UI. So let's do it. First of all, few things to be noted. This particular image, we'll not be using this particular image as a background because I didn't like it. I found it actually a Joker image on a website called Wallpaper Flare, I think, and we'll be using that particular image in this particular demo. So let's arrange that image first. Okay, let's set our environment first, and then after we'll be looking for the image. So let's minimize this particular thing, and let's start by creating a new folder. And let's call it Netflix, and hit enter. That has basically created a folder. You cannot see it because it is on my other screen, but it has created. Let's open our terminal over here. Okay, and if you are on Windows, you can open your command prompt and all. So let's go to this thing, Netflix, and let's open Visual Studio Code over here. If you don't understand what I did right now, you can simply, when the Visual Studio Code opens, you can go to this file thing which is at the corner and select open folder, and that will basically do the same work. So not at all a big issue, I believe. So let's wait till this thing opens. So now you can see Visual Studio Code is open. So basically, if you don't know, like, if you are not comfortable with terminal a lot, what you can do is you can go and click this file thing, and then you can click this open folder. Okay, or you can also press this shortcut keys such as Control K and Control O in order to open whatever folder you desire to work on for this particular project. The first thing we'll be doing is creating index.html, and we'll be using the Tailwind CSS CDN for this particular project. By the way, it is not very much recommended to use CDN. You have to, you should actually set up a node project, and you should do all the things, but for now, like, just for learning purposes, we'll be using CDN, so that, like, it is easier. So what we'll do is, like, first of all, we'll be putting all the basic markup which we have. Now if you're thinking how I did that, simply a semicolon and hit enter. That will do that. And now let's simply put a title over there. So what should be the title? Let's call it Netflix, and I believe that's it. And here's the body. So the first thing we have to do is grab the Netflix, the Tailwind CSS CDN from its official websites. So how will you do it? So simply just let's search for, like, installation. Let me tell you, the documentation for Tailwind CSS is one of the best. So it's great. Whenever I need, or whenever I have, like, I'm stuck somewhere, it is the best documentation. You will be finding the help immediately. You don't need to do anything. So it's the best documentation I have found till now. So these are steps which you can follow for other things, but for the CDN, okay, you can see using Tailwind through CDN, you can go through this, and you will not get, we cannot customize the default theme. We cannot put like any variants or directives. We cannot install third-party plugins, and all these things we can do. But for now, like, we don't need to do all these things. We can do, like, if we need to modify anything, we'll be directly modifying through CSS. So for now it's okay. So let's grab this particular link, copy this particular thing, and let's go to our Visual Studio Code and paste it inside this particular head thing and save it. Now we have successfully added the Tailwind CSS in this particular page. Now one more thing, I have installed the extension. The name of this particular extension is live. It's not this. It's actually, where's that? live server. Now this extension enables me to see any sort of website. Like whenever I save, I instantly see what all this changes, and it automatically refreshes my site on the browser. So it is extremely helpful plugin. So I would recommend you to extension. So basically I would recommend you to install this particular extension if you want, you know, to follow along, and if you want to make your life easier, and you know, you don't have to refresh every time. So that's something great. Now the next thing which we'll do is opening this in browser. So we'll simply, you know, right click, open with browser. Now in your case it will directly open your browser. In my case it will not, because my Firefox had some problem or something, I think. So I'll cross this and I'll manually open it. So let's go to this, and manually you can see, you know, the crash report over here. So Mozilla Firefox crash, quit Firefox. Let's go to localhost port 5500 or 5500, and that will basically open a web page. Right now we don't have anything in our web page, so it is showing blank. So we have all the initial setup which we need now. So the next thing is grabbing this particular image which is in the back over here. First thing first. So what I'll do is, like, we'll just search for wallpaper flared, I believe. Yeah, this particular thing. And I saw that Joker wallpaper. It was amazing, man. Let me show you. Actually, I went to this particular website. You can see the link, and you can also go to this particular website if you want like very this particular the wallpaper. Actually, I have also downloaded this from this particular website only. So yeah, this one. We'll be using this particular thing for. So it's downloaded. So many ads. Okay, so I believe it is downloading. Okay, download wallpaper. Can I do that? Yeah, it's downloaded. You can see. Basically now it has downloaded. Let's simply, you know, put this. Let's close this website. We don't need this anymore. So the next thing we have to do is, like, you know, let's go to our Visual Studio Code, and let's create a new folder, and let's call it img. This will basically in small. So the img, this will contain all the images which we'll be using in this particular thing. So let's quickly, you know, pass this image. So you can simply drag and drop. So basically that will work. Move, and let's rename this to something like, so let's say back, you know, bag. So we'll be using this particular thing. Now let's go and have a look, and you know, for making any kind of design, any kind of layout, I would suggest you to first of all go and see what kind of structure is there. So if you see, there's a navigation bar on the top, there's some title in the middle, there's a button and all. So this, you know, once you get around with the structure, you can make the website very easily. So the first thing which we'll be doing is making the navigation bar. Okay, and if you can see, this navigation bar is not fixed. Okay, so that's something great. So the first thing we have to do is create a div and put this image as a background, put this black overlay which makes it like darker. And is this an image? Netflix, let's see. We need a Netflix logo also, so let's search for that. Netflix logo, images. Let's see, can we get it? I think, you know, there's a website called Flat Icons. So Flat Icon, I think we can get it from there. So Flat Icon. Yeah. No, not at all these things. We don't want it. We want the full name. So I don't know. It was from where I can. And I'm sorry for this noise. Actually, there's a road just beside my house, so and I can't do anything for that. And the thing is, you know, this is a good image, but the background is not transparent, so that's an issue. Let's search for PNG. I believe this is a PNG image. Yes, this is what we want. So save image as, and we'll be going to our project, which is in the desktop. In the desktop we have a folder called Netflix and image, and that's basically the thing. Let's call it logo. Okay, let's rename this to something called logo, and hit enter. So that will basically save it with name logo in our project. So that's great. Now we have, as you can see, we have the Netflix logo, the background, basically we have everything. Now we can start building. So let's put it inside, and basically this side, and let's start building. So the first thing which we'll be doing is we will go and we'll simply create a div, basically. Okay, let me do one thing first. So I just want to do, yeah, so let's create a div first and give it a class. So this will have a width of full by, like full I mean 100%, and the height of screen. So screen by screen I mean the height of the screen, as simple as like that. Height of screen. And the next thing which we want to do is, you know, we need to give a background. So like in a typical scenario, sorry for that noise, okay, just to go away, thank you. So the background will be giving directly from the CSS. All other things will be simply, you know, doing it with tailwind CSS. So and one more thing, you know, if you notice this black overlay, you know, we'll be doing that also. So I believe this will be the black overlay. So basically let's put the background first. So let's say style, okay, and background image. You know, for this particular thing, in typical scenario, in like where you have the npm project and all, you can do it in the tailwind config.js file. And you know, for now just we'll be using the style thing. So we'll call like slash image slash back.jpg and save it. We have to actually give a few more things. So let's search for the background over here. So if you like background size, it's bg auto, bg color, and bg contain. So right now we want contain, so we'll say bg contain. And the next thing which we want is background position, so that should be center. So we'll say bg center, and save it. And let's see how does it look. It looks like this. That's absolutely cool. We got what we want. So this is the thing. The next thing we have to do is we have to like provide a black overlay, you know, on top of this image. So basically what we'll do is we'll simply go inside this particular div, and again we'll say div, again we'll say div, and we'll give a class, and the class will be, the width will be full, that is 100%, and the height will also be the full, like 100%. Whatever the height of the parent and the width of the parent is, it will be the full as like that. And now actually we can specify the background color. And let me show you the documentation. Actually, if you go to documentation, you know, we can actually change a lot of things. So we can even change the background opacity. So let me show you actually. Background opacity. So you can see we can change the background opacity. So if you go to the users, you can say opacity 10, 0, 25, whatever you want. So basically let's use this particular thing. So this will be bg black, and the opacity will be bg opacity, and it will be 25, I believe, 25% opacity. Let's see how does it look. Yeah, you can see this, our black theme has been like applied. I don't know you can see it or not, but yeah, it is. So you know, just to show you, like, let's make it 75 so that it is much more presentable. So now I think you can see that's clear, right? That's working. So let's make it back to 25, and that's how it is. The next thing we have to do is place the text which is there in the Netflix website. So if you see the Netflix website, there's a text in the middle. Okay, so let me make it a little bit like that. Okay, so there's a text in the middle, whatever this is, unlimited movies, TV shows and all, welcome back and all. So let's put all these together. So if you focus, everything is in the center of this particular layout. So you know, let's start with this what do you call this navigation bar. So let's build the navigation bar first. So you know, inside this this will be a nav bar, so let's call it nav, and let's give it class actually, and let's say width will be full, height we don't need to specify the height. Okay, and it will be a flex, and it will be justify center. So Now let me give you a context of what is happening. Not in center, actually between an item center. Okay, if you know about Flexbox, you must be, you must have already understood what I have written. But if you don't know, let me give you an idea. Actually, Flexbox is something like it will make your items inside a parent much more controlled. Like you can control their position, their distance between them, and all those things. So basically what I have done in this particular thing is, whenever you set the display flex, what happens, everything starts appearing, like instead of appearing vertically, it starts appearing in the horizontal direction, one after the another. So what happens, justify content actually works in the direction of the flow. So let's say, if you write flex by automatic, it is of row direction flex, like the direction is by default row. So the justify will affect this row side, and the items, item center, items in, all those things will affect in the vertical direction. So that's how the Flexbox works. If this was a little quick introduction, if you want details, you can go and search in Google Flexbox tutorial, and you'll get what I'm doing. So this item center will vertically align it in the center. The first thing which we have is an image that is over here, image, and I believe logo, that thing, and we'll say, let's call it Netflix, save it. And basically we have an image, but it's extremely large, so we have to make it of an appropriate size. So let's do that first. So we'll say this should have a class, and this should have a width of maybe 44. Will be, let's specify the width directly. So let's say width is maybe 300. That's also very much big. 200, 100. Yeah, that's perfect. So basically we can go for 150, I believe. That will also be good. Yeah, that's better. So you can see, in our website here we have the Netflix, and there's some padding from the, I don't know, this is, I think, left side. So there's some padding from the left side. So let's give the padding or margin. What should we give? Any of those things will work. So basically let's give that. So let's give a class. So let's call it class, and let's say padding from, or let's say margin from the left side is how much should we give? 3, 6, 8, 6. Let's try 6, and you can see basically that works. So this is how it looks right now. So we have the padding from the left side as 6. The next thing we have to do is you have to make the sign up button. Okay, so let's make that out. So let's call it a div. Let's call it sign out basically. And the next thing that we'll do is we'll simply specify the class, and we'll give class as bg red and something dark like 600, and text is white, so we'll say text and white. And the next thing we want is the corners should be rounded, right? So we can say rounded, ROUNDED, and let's say MD, so that's like medium. So all the corners should be rounded like in medium. And we can specify some padding. So we can say there should be a padding in the y direction, it should be 2, and in the x direction there should be 3. So let's see how does that look. Basically that looks fine, but that's actually too, that's okay, I believe. But our padding is too much big, and the text here is smaller. Our text is too much big, so let's make the text size a bit smaller. So let's say text and MD, which is medium, now SN, which is small. Yeah, that looks better. And this y direction should be 1, I believe. That's too much. Yeah. And there should be like margin. We have margin from the left side there, so we'll have margin from the right side over here of about 3, same. And now you can see this looks much more better. This looks like what we have over here. Basically we have a lot the margin is way much more as we have. So let's increase the margin from left and right. So we have like 3 right now, so let's increase it to like 6 maybe. Same with this thing, this image. So okay, we already had 6 over here, you can see, and we put like this thing there. x direction. So this is 3, okay, and margin from the right should be 6. Save it. Yeah, that works. That works 100%. That works. The next thing we have to do is in the center of this whole screen, we have to, like, in the center, we have to write this particular thing. And to appear, like, to make anything appear in the center of any other thing, what you have to do is you have to display it flex and set justify content and items align to the center. Yes, that's the whole thing. So we have to just simply create this particular center thing. Okay, so to place anything in the center, as I have already told you, Flexbox is my solution, right? So that works like always. So what I'll do is, like, basically below this nav, I'll create another div which will actually contain this thing. So I'll give a class and call it, like, this should be a Flexbox and should be in center. So we'll say justify center and align items center. So, like, you can think of it like this is like for the horizontal thing, this is for the vertical thing. So from the horizontally, I want all the things to be centered, and from the vertical, I want all the things to be centered. But this will be changed, this will be switched. If, like, I want everything to appear like below each other, so if I just leave it like this, this will create an issue. Let me show you what issue it will create, then you'll, like, I think, understand it better. So welcome back, ultimate, whatever this is, let's try to, like, write all those things. So the first of all, we have a div which will be welcome back, whatever this is. I have came here like, I don't know, and let's give it a div, and this fill is unlimited movies, comma TV, and there's a break, so we can say give it a break, and then we can say shows and more, period, and then we can give a button. So this will be the button. So it says finish, actually FINISH, finish. Okay, it's all in capital. So finish. I think it will be sign up, because I already tried to sign up once, so that's why it is calling welcome. Let's call it welcome, not welcome back. So this will, the main issue it will create is, let me show you. Actually, you can see everything is appearing side by side. So the welcome, then all these things, and everything is appearing side by side, and that's an issue, right? So we don't want everything to appear side by side. We want everything to appear in the middle, right, and below each other. So to set it below each other, we have to simply modify the direction of the flex. To modify the direction of the flex, it's very, very simple. You have to simply say over here and go over here and say flex, flex, and then call. So that will share it to column. And the next thing which you have to do is simply you have to specify width and height. So the height will be full, whatever is the height available, it will go and capture that. So let's see how does it look now. Okay, for some reason we can't see our text, so I believe we can remove this height, and let's see what happens. Okay, now we have everything in center, but it is not in the, not like below each other, but it is not in the center of this thing. So to do that, we'll say, like, we'll just yeah, so we'll just say flex call, and then we'll say we will just simply place everything of these things in a div. Okay, and now we'll say everything in the center. So save it, and let's see how what happens. And we have to set a height of this, so height full. Let's see, does that fix the issue or not? Yeah, we have everything in the center. Basically, it's not appearing in the center due to this navigation bar and all, because navigation bar is actually taking some amount of space. So yeah, we'll fix that later on, but for now, like, that's okay. So the next thing which we have to do is we have to make everything, change the color and all, so that we can actually see everything up. So if we just go to the Netflix website, everything, the text, everything is white. So what we'll do is, like, we'll go just over here and say text and white. I don't know will that work or not, but let's see. Yeah, everything that worked. The next thing we have to do is we have to center the text. So we can say text and then center and save it. Yeah, it's centered. And now the size, like it is of various sizes. So for the first thing we'll do is go to this and say class of text, and this will be XL, which is extra large. So let's see how does it look. Where is that? Here is that. Yeah, I believe that is not something appropriate. So what I'll do is, like, we'll say 2XL. This will be maybe 5XL, 6XL. XL, by XL I mean extra large. So you can go to the documentation and check what does this mean. So 5, this actually means the amount of size which you want to set. So that's how it is. So you can see that looks good. Unlimited movies, TV shows, and more. And then the last thing, we have this sign up button. So we have to create the sign up button. It's looking like below everything, so that's not an issue. That's okay for now. We'll be just shifting this everything up by setting the position relative, and then like the top as minus something like minus 100 pixel. So that will basically center this up. So that's the idea right now, basically. The 5XL. And the next thing which we will do is we will have to make this thing, and I believe this is just similar to what we have in the sign up button. So we'll just copy all the styles from here and paste it over here, so like this. And just the text size is bigger. I believe the text size is only the bigger thing. So of course this grows, which we don't want, and we'll be fixing it. But I think in the Netflix website it is very like big as compared to the original one. So the thing which we'll be doing is we'll say width as maybe 44, and the padding is like all the things is okay. Just the text size, so text 3XL, and I believe that should work. Yeah, it works. So basically, you can see this is not appearing in the middle, but it is appearing in the side. So let's do an ultimate fix of this problem. Instead of setting the text center, let's set it to flex, and we'll be using the same trick as we have used before to make everything appear in the center. So we'll say flex. Oh, it's already flex. So actually not over here. Actually, we'll just go here. So we'll say this is a flex, and then actually justify center, justify center, and then items center. So item center, justify center. Sorry for the noise, guys, because I can't stop it. So justify center, item center, and the next thing is flex row. Flex call, because of that everything is below each other. Just save it and let's see how does it look now. Yeah, everything is centered, but text is not centered over here inside the button. So let's do that first. And if you go like, I believe there's a very little round thing over here, and we have everything like spacing between each of these things. So we have to just do that also. So just increase the size like 6XL, and what else? I believe we have to make the text center over here. So we'll say text center, CENTER. I believe that will fix the issue. Yeah, and actually everywhere the text should be at the center. So let's go to this thing. It's called, like, this should also be text center, and this should also be that doesn't need to be text center, because that's okay. Yeah, it's okay. The next thing we have to do is give spacing between all these things. So let's do that thing quickly. So where's that coda? Yeah. So the thing which we'll be doing is we'll say like this particular thing, this welcome thing, this will have a padding, no, margin in the bottom to be maybe 6. This will, like, ultimate thing will have everything with a margin in the y direction to be like 6. Save it. So now we have made this. The next work is to give the spacing between them. So that, let's go to our VS Code and let's give spacing. So margin in the y direction is 6, as we have given this to this, and this particular also, like, we can give like margin in the upside. Okay, so we want margin in the top side to be 6, I believe. So let's save it. Let's see how they look in this particular website. Looks cool. I think we forgot to write something. It is watch anywhere, cancel anytime. I think we forgot to write this one. Let's copy this particular line, watch anywhere, cancel anytime. So after this, I believe we have this. We can paste this, and just, it is similar to the first one, I believe, this welcome thing. So we can just copy this and paste this over here. So we can say class, paste this over here, and basically, yeah, and we can say margin in the y direction is 6. Y means like in up and down direction. We want 6, and let's go and see how does it look over here. Yeah, but I think the margin is actually too much. 4 will be, I believe, enough for this thing. It's actually too much. So, you know, let's make it 4. I believe where's that? It's 6 over here. So let's make it 4. This also, let's make it 4. Here also, let's make it 4. Here also, let's make it 4. Wait, margin right, 4. Save it. Let's see how does it look. That's better. That's really like better than before. The next thing we have to do is simply, you know, center this whole thing up. So to center this whole thing up, which we have to do is, it's actually not very hard, but still, let's try to do it. So the thing which we'll be doing is actually setting the this navigation bar as absolute. So I think that will, like, overlay the thing, and that will make our work easier, I believe. I think so. It's not 100% sure, but let's see. ABSOLUTE, absolute. Let's see what does that do. Yes, that did work. That's great. So now you can see that this is exactly in the center of the screen, and everything looks pretty dope. So let's now move forward. So if you go to Netflix website, the next thing is when you scroll, basically when you scroll, there's like these, you know, these separators, I'll call. So we're making this separators, and there's like this thing, this left and right sort of banner thing. And one more thing, you know, the whole website which we'll be making will be responsive, so you don't have to think about that. So that will be responsive. So we'll be making it responsive afterwards, basically after this thing completes. So this particular thing is there. So let's make the divider first. So after this whole thing, we want a divider. So basically this will be the divider. So div, let's give it a class. Let's call it width as fill, the height as 3, and let's give it some background color. So back a BG color, BG a gray, and this will be 600, and what else? I believe that's it. So that worked. Yes, it did. That's the separator we have. Actually, it's much more darker in this particular website, so we'll set it to 800 or something. And now after this, basically we'll have that, left and right thing. So div, and inside this particular div, this will actually, we have like all the things inside this, and we'll give it a class, call it width. Should be like it should be like, I believe, smaller, like 80% or something. Let's call it 4 out of 5, so that will be 80%, I believe. Yes, it will be 80%. and this particular thing should be have a class, and this should have a fill, and this should be a flex, and this should be justify between. So because we want the maximum space between things, so justify between, justify between, between, and what's the next thing which we want? So justify between, and what else? I will see if we need anything else. So first of all, we need these images which we have over here. I believe these images. The problem is that this is actually a video is running in the back of these images, so that's an issue because we don't have the videos. So what we can do is we can take a screenshot of this thing, so that will basically pretend, and we'll not be playing this video because that will be beyond the scope of this particular tutorial. So yeah, so we'll just search for screenshot. That's really funny. So, that's like first time anybody taking a screenshot. We'll say selection, take screenshot, basically this thing. That's not a good one. That's not a good capture, so cancel. Another one. Okay, we'll say pick one, and we're going to save it to some other location. That location is on desktop. It's called Netflix, and it's inside this img folder. Open, and we'll say pick one and just save it. The next thing we'll do is, again, we'll simply open screen, whatever this is, screenshot. I don't know why we have to open it again and again, but yeah. So pick two, save it. That png, save it. The next thing is we'll say again screen shot, and I believe this one. So let's take a screenshot, and so it's called pick three. So pick three and save it, and then we'll be simply going through this frequently asked questions and all, but for now, like, that's okay. So the next thing, let's start building these things. So let's open the VS Code, and the first thing we'll be doing is providing the image. The image is at the image, pick one, and we'll not have any alt thing. The next thing we'll be having is all the text which we have. So what are those texts which we have in the website? So it's this has actually two things, the heading and this description. So let's put it up. So we'll say this has two things. First, in heading, so which will have a class. The text will be, I think, 2XL. Okay, and let's enjoy your TV. So that's the first thing, first text. And one more thing, this is opposite in the first, so we'll just switch it up. So copy this. So div, and let's give it a class, and let's call it text Excel. I don't know why, but everything is very, very big. Let's give a BR over here, and for players we have a BR. Save it, and just cut this image from there and paste it below this whole thing. Save it, and now let's see how it looks. It looks fine, but the problem is that our image does not have a width. So let's specify a width for this. Maybe 300 will be just fine. And we just this has a low width, right? So this does not have like a full width. Let's say we want this to have like full width, whatever this is. Like, let's move that thing up. Yeah, and we want the background of this whole page to be black because that's how it is. So let's say class and bg as black, Yeah, and text as white, so any text is white, so we'll say text is white. Yeah, basically you have this right over here. The next thing we'll be doing is giving some padding and all, so we'll say over here I believe. Yeah, we'll give some padding and all, so we'll say padding in the x direction, is 8. 12 maybe, save. Okay. The next thing which we're doing is, in the up and down, like padding in the y direction will be 6 because that is also there. So yeah, I believe that's looking good. And just simply remove this XL and let's write text MD, which is medium size text. We want over there. So now we can see that it looks fine, I believe. So if you go that, there's a lots of space between all these things, so yeah, we have to give a lot of spaces. So let's try to do it. So pixel at x, pixel at y, let's say the whole padding is this, so let's remove this. I'm doing like I'm really not sure this will work or not, but yeah, we are not afraid of trying because we do it. It looks terrible. Now how to make it like appear closer to each other? I just got a very interesting idea. So what we'll do is, like, we'll go here and we will simply, instead of justify between, we'll call it center, and we'll just specify some width of this particular thing. So we'll say class, and width is maybe 44 or like 55 or 80. So 84 maybe, and let's save it. Or we can set it in percentage, so we can say like it will be like 3 out of 5 maybe, and this, like, all the text is like on the image will have like 300 pixels. That's okay. Let's see how it is. Does that look? That looks way much more better than before. And this, the size of these all things will be larger, I believe. If we just go to the original size, everything looks so small, so we'll just make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, let's go to the original side. Let's reset it. I believe, yeah, it's bigger. It's bigger. So friends, here you can see, we have everything like looking extremely small right now. So let's first make it look bigger, because yeah, it's better. Okay, so let's search maybe 6. Like it's a lot of hit and trial sort of thing. There is my website. I believe this is the website now. This one. Yeah, so you can see, this is the image right now, and we have to make this also a lot more bigger than what it is right now. So what we'll do is we'll just make it bigger. So how we can make it bigger? Simply, typing the text for enjoy this should be like 3 or 4 XL, and this should be not medium, but it should be like 2 XL, extra large, and basically it's like that. And one more thing, if I go to the original Netflix site, which is, I believe, this one, it is actually all these things which you see is in the middle of this thing. So what we'll do is, like, we'll say flex and justify center, and item center, save it. Let's see, how does it look now? Yeah, so we have to say it's like flex. This should be actually column, like the direction of the flex will be column. Yeah, and one more thing, this whole thing will actually be wrapping inside another div, and why? For a very, very, very specific reason. Yeah, now it looks somewhat better. Like, let me show you the side. Actually, it looks better, right? So if we just zoom it to some level, it looks like the original right now. now I think it's simple. Just we just have to replicate this, from left to right I think 3 times. Let's do that first. So we'll just simply go and grab this thing up, this thing, I believe this one was the divider, right? So with a divider we want all these things, so we can just copy this up and paste this here and paste this here 2 times. Basically in the middle one we just have to make it like in the right side. So basically this is I believe this is the image, and then this is the image. So this image should not be here, it should be above this particular thing, which is over here. So let's save it. Okay, and once we save it, let's see how it look. Let's go to this, make it like this, and you can see now, yeah, that is exactly what we wanted. So now we can see, that really makes sense. Now simply let's change everything to match like what we want. So let's do it. The second image is actually pick 2, so we pick 2, and the third image is pick 3, so this will be pick 3. Let's change the content. So if you go to the original Netflix site, which is I believe this one, the first one is that, the second one is download your shows and watch offline. So let's copy that from there, paste it over here. This is I believe the second one. Okay, so yeah, let's copy this from there, paste it there, and there's a dot. That's important. Save your favorite, whatever this is, copy this thing and paste this over here. Okay, after have we can have a break point, and then after we have watch everywhere, copy that, let's go to there and paste it, watch everywhere, and then we have stream, whatever this is, copy this, paste it I believe over here, and after on we'll have a break. Save it. Let's see how does it look. So like you can see, this is how it looks right now. One image is not coming due to some reason, so let's find the reason now. And this is looking extremely big due to some reason. Okay, that's good. So basically this image is not coming, so let's fix that first. So the second image, which is I believe the second one, right? So if we just remove this, yeah, the second one, img2, yeah, we forgot to write .png, so let's save that, and that will basically make our website appear how we wanted it to be. Yeah, you can see that looks something like what we want. The next thing we want to do is we want to create the frequently asked questions section. So let's do that quickly, extremely quickly, like very fastly. We'll be doing the frequently asked questions section. So let's try that out. I think we have to adjust the height of this particular image because this is like too much, so let's do it. The last image is the height will be I believe 300. I think will be a good height for it. That's okay, leave it. The next thing is we have to make the frequently asked section. So let's create a div, and now let's see how the original site looks. So where is the original site? It's here. So the div simply written frequently, frequently. Let's copy this from here. Frequently asked questions, copy, paste this over here, and then after we have to make all these cards, which is like that. So we'll simply as because they're in the middle, they have like some percentage of the whole width. So whatever div will be inside this will have a class and will have a width which will be actually 60% of the whole width. So for the 60%, let's do like 4 out of 5. That will be 60%. And the next thing which we'll be doing is simply providing 2 things. First is the question. So what is Netflix? If we just copy this thing what is Netflix, what is Netflix, question mark. And the other thing which it will have is, okay, what is Netflix, and the other thing which it will have is a plus icon. So we have to actually download the plus icon from Google icons, so Google material icons. So let's search for Google material icons. This is an absolute like amazing website for finding great icons. So you have to go, you can go to this website if you want like icons for your websites and all. So okay, so let's search for ad over here. So ad, and where's that ad button? This is what we want, and we want it in white color. So that's a thing to be noted. So we want it in white color, and let's download it as an SVG. Okay, and that's downloaded. Now let's simply drag and drop this to our images folder. Once we do that, the add whatever thing has been added to our project. So let's quickly add this to our, this thing, add icon, and let's now remove all these things which we don't require, and that's basically it. Now we have to set a width and a height. So let's set a width of about, I think 50 pixel. It will be enough. So let's now go to the website which we have made. So this one, yeah, actually 50 pixel is way bigger, so we'll say 30 pixel. Yeah, that's perfect. The next thing which we'll be doing is we will just go for this one and like start styling this one. So we'll say class and text center, basically text center, and we'll say text 2XL or 3XL. Yeah, and then after that we want this part of thing, what is Netflix. So we want this whole thing to be a flex and justify between. So justify between, save it. Yeah, and inside this, like this whole thing should be like flex, flex, and this will be flex call, which is column, and this justify center and items center. Save it. CENTER actually. Yeah, and this thing will be, I think, even smaller, so we can go with like 30 pixel. Yeah, and the next thing we'll be doing is providing some X and Y like margin. So we'll say margin Y direction will be 3, I believe. That should be enough. Yeah, that's enough. And the background, if I go to the real website, original website of the Netflix, you'll see it's sort of grayish color. So we'll also go with that theme. So we'll say BG gray, and this will be like, I believe, what should be the value, 500, and that's basically, save it. Let's see how does it look. Let's see how our website looks. So actually the gray value is too much, so we'll say 300. We have written this should be BG, and it should be like 500, much more, 700. Yeah, 700 or 800. How does it look? Yeah, 800 is actually looking similar to what we have there, and we just want to say justify centers and items center. Basically that will make everything center. We want the padding also. The padding in the X direction should be 3. That will basically give some spacing between them, and we have a lot of them. So okay, padding in Y direction would be 2. Yeah, the next so if you want to see how the site looking, our site is looking, it's looking like this right now. So just we have the one of them, and now we have to make all others. So basically we have, if you go and count, so it's 1 2 3 4 5 cards are there. So let's make it 5. So 1 is there, and let's copy this thing up. I believe till here it is. Yeah, paste these ones, twice, 3 4 5. Save it. Control Shift I. Oh, okay, save it, and let's see how does it look. So this basically, where is it? You know, let's go at the bottom. Yeah, actually this looks great. So let's go to 150, and you can see that's how it does look right now. So it looks fine, I believe. Actually, you know, the padding is much more in this case of this Netflix website, so we'll also try to do that. We'll increase the padding, of course. So we'll increase the padding to padding from like 3 to, let's say, increase like 4, and this will be 3, and I believe that's it. Now let's change the question. So let's save it. Now let's put on those questions which are there. So it's how much does Netflix cost? The second question. So this is the first question, I believe. The second question is how much does Netflix cost? Infinity. That should be the answer of this question. How much? Because you know it's does Netflix cost? Netflix cost. Okay. And the next question is where can I watch? Here. You can watch anywhere. So where can I watch? Okay, and then how can I cancel? That's the next question. So let's put that there. So how can I cancel? Okay, and the thing is, what can I watch on Netflix? Yeah, that how can someone ask this question? What can I watch on Netflix? You can watch anything. What can I watch on Netflix? Save it, and basically that's done. And if you want to show, if you want to see the style which we have over here, you can see all these things looks awesome. Now let's move forward, and I believe in the last one we have added padding, and we forgot to add the padding in all the rest things. So let's add the padding in all the other things as well. So this padding, you know, padding even increased. Just copy it, and we'll just select this, all the occurrences of this particular thing, and we'll just paste it there and save it. Yeah, now it looks something like this, which is better than before. Now once we have this particular thing, we have a sign up button. So we'll just copy the sign up button from like above, which is from the top over here. We'll just copy this. Just we have to make this in the center. So yeah, and after this thing, this whole thing, which is this one, we have in sign up button. So control Z, div. Basically I want to center this, that's why, you know, I'm keeping this inside a div. And let's give it a class, and let's call it this should be like this should be a flex, this should be a justify center. Justify center. Okay, that's done. Yeah, we have added the button. The next thing we have is, if you want to see how does it look now, you can see that's how it looks now. And if you like, if I would be able to show you the original website, it look like this, and that's the section completed. The next thing, the only next thing we have is this particular what do you call this particular footer. Okay, so let's make this very quickly. It is like very simple to make, so let's make this quickly. So basically, you know, we have this, and this will be okay. We have a divider over here also. So where's a divider? Where is our divider, man? This is the divider. Let's copy this. Here also we have a divider, so here's the divider. And the next thing is, we will simply start by, you know, putting different things. So there, question, call, something like this. So let's copy that from there. Copy, paste it. The next thing is, we have a lot of lists, so let's put it inside a div. Div. So the first is FAQ, the another one is div is investor relations. The next thing is privacy, privacy, and then speed test. Okay, then we have the another column. So this is the one of the columns which we have. So we just cut it and paste it inside another div, and like I believe 4 columns are there. So we have 4 columns. Okay, so let's save it, and you can see it has automatically done everything. So the thing we'll be doing is class, this will be a flex so that everything appears side by side. This will be justify center. So justify, we can say justify evenly, justify. Oh, let's do a center. That will not be an issue, I believe. Next thing what we'll do is we'll just go and select all these places. Like I hold down my alt in order to do this. So if you are curious, this class is I want some margin in the X direction to be 3. Save it. Let's see how does it look. Yes, actually that did our work extremely, in a good way. So that's something great. And the next thing we have to do is we have to like align this particular thing same way as these things. Let's change the content actually first. So the second it had like is help center. The third we have is this jobs. The fourth we have is cookie preferences, I believe. preferences. And the next thing we have is legal notice, CS. The next thing is accounts, TS accounts. The next thing we have is ways to watch. So ways to watch. The next thing we have is corporate information. The next thing we have is Netflix original. The next thing we have is media center. The next thing we have is terms to use. Next thing is contact us. And I believe we don't have the last one in the last one. Let's save it. And let's do one thing, this MX, let's select all the MX and let's make it bigger. So we'll say 6 basically. Okay, now the next final thing is, that's all I believe. We have to just make it the question, align with this particular thing, these things. So for that we can just go inside class. A margin in the Y direction would be 12. I believe that should work. So that should work, I believe. So what if I say padding? That didn't work. Margin in the left side, margin in the right side would be 12. So let's increase it. Let's make it 14. let's make it maybe 16. Let's make it 20 maybe. Let's make it 24. Yeah, that's okay. And okay, so what if like I make it like margin in the x direction will be 24? That's work fine. So margin in the y direction would be 6. Yeah. Now I would like to show you this particular thing. Okay, it doesn't work actually. Let's give it like a full to make it appear with this particular thing. We have to like wrap everything, like this particular thing and these things also together in one particular UI basically, and then it will look basically the same. For now I think that's okay enough. I think we learn something like from this UI clone of Netflix. Thank you for watching this video, and I'm working hard for this. You know, if you subscribe, that's amazing. If you have any doubt, or if you like still confused how to do that bottom thing, simply comment down below. I'll personally tell you how to do it. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day. Bye bye. I hope so you learned something. Bye bye.